about what you expect of training. So this is when we don't fulfill your expectations. Just kidding. Okay, so basically the expectation you're gonna learn a lot. It's gonna be fun. It's a fun way of learning something. You know, I don't think it's gonna feel like work. And then you're going to learn for your own gardening, and you're going to be learning so that you can share that knowledge with others. And that's the whole point of this Master Gardener program, to teach you so that you can spread it out and can keep on going, to continue to spread that education and the good science-based education principles that everybody wants to know, rather than, you know, some things that might have worked for someone and maybe not someplace else. So really, once again, I want to stress, no one knows all the answers. You don't have to be an encyclopedia. You just be an index. So you just want to know where to look, and through this training, you're going to know where to look. So you're going to have, so let's just go over the course material. So today, oh, thank you. Vanna. So, course material. So today you received your Master Gardener Volunteer Manual, Foundations in Horticulture. This is it's a spiral binder that you received. It's a spiral book. It is just packed full of so much great information. That book was revised multiple times, and they've really got it right. I know, and they had different people write chapters. Sharon wrote some of the chapters. We had different horticulture people rewrite chapters, putting in there what we think you need to learn and what people want to learn. The next thing is this is the weekly binder, which you also received today, and that's filled with little extra handouts that we felt wasn't covered in the manual, nor was covered in the third item, which is the publications binder, which you don't have. So you're going to be getting that next week or the week later. The publications binder is filled with publications that are written by UW-Madison specialists in a number of topics. If we don't have a publication on a specific topic, we may be putting a publication in there from maybe, you know, Illinois or Minnesota that has a great publication, still perfect for our climate. So it's just filled with stuff that's written about our climate. So many times you go to the bookstore or even on the internet and there's nothing specifically about gardening in Wisconsin. And so that's what those publications are. A lot of really great ones in there, and I think you're going to find them really helpful. The binder of the publications, most of them, the ones from Wisconsin, can be found on a website that I don't think it's here, but you'll have access to it down the road. So you can actually read it online. You can print them off for other people, so you can direct people to the site. So these publications, 99% of them can just be printed off your own computer and you don't have to purchase them. But we bought the purchase copies so they're a little bit sturdier, have good covers and stuff for your use. So what do you need to do for each class? So to prep for class each week, you're going to want to read the chapter in the manual. Please come even if you didn't read it. I mean, I don't want people to say like, well, I didn't read the manual. So no, come. It's okay. You know, it'll make more sense if you read the manual. It will be covering information you're like, oh yeah, I read that. So it's like reinforcement of what you read. But you know, I know that a lot of you are working full time, and sometimes it's just like, I just didn't get to it. Don't stop you from coming. Okay, why don't you pull out the class schedule? It looks like it's green. So, as you can see, there's a number of columns on it. Each topic listed for each week has a number in it referencing the section in your weekly binder and the chapter in your book. Because we don't necessarily go according to the manual, the chapters. We've kind of moved them around a little bit. So you know, just because it's week one, don't just read chapter one and, you know, make sure that you'll see the connection. So that's going to be really helpful. You're also going to want to look over the publications in the publications binder for the session that we're in. Okay. by doing that, you're going to come here and you're going to feel a little bit more prepared. You know, can you come here and listen and do just fine? You'll be fine, but it'll make it more valuable to you. So keep that schedule out, and I'm going to go to the next section. What? I talked about the weekly binder. Didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay. Well, this is what happens. Sharon did these sections at the Monday class, and then I did her opposite. We thought, oh, let's switch in this class. We will never do that again. Okay? Because I keep saying, is this when you talked about that thing? So I'm just telling you why we're like kind of tag teaming. So you'll notice on the schedule, in some instances, it refers to a module. Do you see that instance?
It says suggested preparation.
Oh, outside of class.
Oh, okay. Yeah, outside of class. Suggested
It's the astronaut.
Suggested prep outside of class, okay? And it talks about little modules. So on those days that we recommend doing the module, we're recommending that you go to the Wisconsin Master Gardener site, in the address is at the top, and that's what the opening page looks like. And you click on Learn, and then you choose Level 1 Training. When you click on Learn, it'll say Level 1 Training, and then there'll be this screen. And so so it shows you the different choices you have, the different modules you can watch. You can look at the little pictures with the little words here, or you can look at the column here. Both will take you to the same place. So if you click here, or you click under plant pathology on this side, it'll be the same. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll get you to this page. This is an example. And it'll show gardening, general gardening practice lecture playlist. It'll have handouts and more, and they have extra stuff. We want you to go to the we want you to go to the lecture playlist section. And there, the little module we want you to watch has like little topics. So it'll be split up. It might be like a 2-minute lecture, Introduction to Gardening Practices. Then it might talk about, there'll be all these tiny little presentations you can click on and watch. Some might be for 5 minutes, some might be for 4 minutes, so that you don't have to watch the whole thing in one day. So you might want to go there and go, okay, I'm gonna try to get there, and I'm gonna watch one today. And so we're hoping that you can watch it when it's suggested to watch it, because we want to do some in-class activities. So rather than us talking to you for 3 hours, we want you to watch the little video, and then when you come here, we want you to be able to do stuff with you. We want to have like an hands-on activity where you work together to figure stuff out, to kind of enhance your learning type of thing. We're not going to do that every week, and it's just a few ones are listed. Yes?
So I have a clarifying question. So if we start at the link at the bottom of the green page that's underlined.
Correct.
Then we find the asterisk topic from this, go one more forward.
Okay, so this is the link. The link will take you to this page.
Okay. So then if we click the asterisk link, so that week 3 is bottom intro?
Yeah, so this is, you click on this, and then that'll tell you, it says Level 1 Training, the next screen after that. And then after you click on Level 1 Training, this is what shows up.
Okay, so for week 3, we need to find the botany intro to plants.
Which is the first one.
Which is right here, Intro to Plants.
Gotcha, okay.
So that's what you click on.
Thank you.
If you do that and it's just not working, don't stress about it. Just come to class, participate in the activity. Sharon will talk about how it went with everybody. We'll try to work out the kinks. So don't, but we're just thinking it might be kind of interesting just to do a little bit, occasionally do some hands-on stuff in the class and not spend 3 hours of talking. I think we've learned from people who come to the class, they've liked having activities in the class People like learn by doing sometimes, you know. So that is what some of those classes will be. Other classes will be, like you can see we actually list the guest lectures coming. You don't have to listen to those presentations at all, because many times they're the ones who gave them on the Master Gardener website, so you'd be listening to it too.
You have to listen while they talk.
Yeah, you have to listen when the guy's up here. We just meant you don't have to go to the online site and watch the video, sorry. Because you might be just seeing it twice. You don't want to do that. But if you miss a class, perfect. Go to that place and watch it. Any questions about that? I know it's clear as mud. But I think once you play around with the computer, does everybody have access to a computer? Okay. All right.
Anybody who doesn't?
Anybody who doesn't?
Does everybody have email?
Does everybody have email here? Anybody who doesn't have email?
Woo-hoo.
Nice, okay. Every year we've gotten better at this. So that's what we're going to do. So the first one that we're going to do that video thing is going to be the introduction to plants. Next week, you don't need to do that at all. Just come to the class. But you want to read the chapter. Okay. So if you open up your manual to the first page of the first chapter, of any chapter, you're going to see this little QR code. If you have a smartphone and you have a QR code app on your phone, you can actually just click on this and it'll take you to the level 1 training page that we just talked about. So that could be really simple. So that's another way to get there. If you don't have, most of the time that QR code app is free. I don't think they charge for it, so. Okay. So, class sessions, combinations of speaker presentations sometimes, Sharon sometimes, me sometimes. Sometimes we're just speaking to you, sometimes we're going to have you do it, watch the video ahead of time and come. And each time after class we'll say, okay everybody, remember next week, and we'll walk you through what you have to do the next week. Come with your questions, especially that first week if it just seems like it's just too overwhelming. I think once you kind of get in the groove, I don't think it's going to be hard to do. So we're hoping for some activities within the class. We're going to have some discussions. We're going to have some Q&A, some group activities. So that's what we're hopeful to do that. So you can bring tablets, smartphones, laptops if you want here. Pretty sure that we have this guest. It'd be fun to see if someone could just see if they can get on the Wi-Fi in this room as a guest. If someone could just do that, can you get it? And you're got, okay, so we do have the Wi-Fi right here, so we can use it for, like, if we're doing a group activity, we're trying to look up a publication. Well, we can go to the publications website, pull it up. It'll be fun, so if somebody doesn't have it. So, the only thing that I say is if you have a lot of your electronic devices need to be plugged in, we really don't want lots of cords around the floors and stuff, so charge them before you come, because there's not a ton of outlets, especially the way we're laid out. Okay. So other class features. We are going to have little mini presentations about the program. So we're going to talk about the listserv, a little bit of detail, which is our computer email list. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but down the road. We're going to have a little discussion, a little bit more of an in-depth discussion about the volunteer service policy and the continuing ed policy. So that might be like a 15-minute part of a weekly class. We're going to have a little section on timesheets and recording hours so that it's clear to you how to do that. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about answering gardening questions as a Master Gardener volunteer, just some things you need to think about when you're doing that. So those are going to be kind of like, we might cover a topic one day in the last 20 minutes, we'll focus on one of these things so that we're not throwing everything at you tonight. We're also going to have, on our days occasionally, we're going to have a presentation, a visitation by the Master Gardener, our president, going to welcome you to the Master Gardener program, answer questions. Someone's going to come in and talk about the volunteer opportunity fair, get a little bit more detail about that, answer questions about that. We're going to have a couple garden projects that are out there, our approved garden projects, just so you can get a sampling of some of the things that are out there that you can volunteer if you want to volunteer at a garden project. We're going to ask them to stop in and talk a little bit about that. Plant health advisors, if you want to answer questions as a master gardener on our hort helplines, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we might talk a little bit about some of our events, activities, which Sharon talked about. So, you know, occasionally you'll just get a little bit of education, that's a little snippet more about this program to piece that big puzzle together. Okay. So what do you bring to class each week? You're going to have this manual, the weekly binder, the publications binder. You're going to be walking in every day. Nope, you don't need to do that. So you're going to want to pull out the weekly binder section. So for the week, so you're going to just pull out those pages and bring them with you in case we're going to use them for an in-class activity. You're going to do the same thing with the publications binder section. So, you know, you can just maybe have a folder and you just shove that in for the week, and then when you get back home, you put them back in the binder. You can bring your manual if you want, but it's not mandatory. Some people take notes in that binder because we have the chapter. We don't follow exactly like the chapter, each chapter. It's not like you open up the page and we go just in beautiful chronological order. We don't do that. We hop around. Sometimes we have just so much time to cover the information. But still, if you're that kind of person, you want all that information in the manual, bring it along. If you want to take notes, you can take notes. You don't have to take notes. I mean, we're going to be covering material that's in your manual, that's in the pubs, you know. So, but if you're a note taker, feel free to bring to take notes. And then if you have a mug, if it works out for you to drag a mug along, and I see so many of you with mugs here, which is really nice. We just encourage if you remember to bring one, that's great, because then we can save on paper products and you're not, filling the landfill. So.
Will you be giving us copies of the slides?
No.
Okay.
So you will not. Occasionally, one of our specialists might come in and he might bring that for you, but we will not have copies of the slides because, like I said, most of that information is in your manual anyway.
Okay.
So we don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Other class information. So every time you come, you check in at the check-in table so that we can, it's not like we're going to track you down and give you penalties because you miss a class. It's so that we kind of can keep track of who's coming, who's missing a handout. So the people at the very end, we have 4 sets of handouts. We know who's going to get them next week. They put your name on them with a sticky note so that when you come back, it's just waiting for you. Sometimes if people don't come, they come in for 2 weeks, then we don't see them. Sometimes we'll check, we'll check in and say, is everything okay? And, we've had some people got really sick and they're like, well, thanks for thinking of me. I didn't think anybody, even noticed me. So it's like we care about our students. And so just check in. If you miss a class, you don't have to call us. Don't call us. There's no reason to call us. I mean, we're going to miss you, but everything, we know that things come up. Just don't come. I mean, it's okay. Remember, you can't switch classes. I mean, I had people like, I've been calling you all day, I can't come. And I'm like, okay. It's just like, I feel really bad, but it's okay. It's not, it's just how it is. To make it up, how can I make up a class? Make sure you read the book, the chapter, and you can go to, now that you know where those learning modules are, you can go watch the lecture list and catch up on what you missed. So, it's not the same when you're in the class and you have a chance to raise your hand and ask questions, but at least it's something. You feel like you're getting something.
Do you watch the class on the website? Is that why you're recording it, or?
We're recording it because we don't have a copy of this orientation, and if somebody missed today's class as well as Monday's class, we had a number of people. That way, if they're like, well, I really like to watch we can show them that they can get them a link to the orientation. We used to videotape all of our classes, and we've stopped doing that just because the quality was just okay. People said, basically, I was staring at the camera talking to them for 3 hours, and it wasn't the same. So that's why we thought this is a better way to catch up. So halfway through each session, we'll have a break for refreshments, coffee, tea, and our snacks for today were provided by our Master Gardener, Southeast Wisconsin Master Gardeners, which is really nice. But from here on then, now, we're hoping that you guys can supply the snacks. So we have a little sign-up sheet. We're looking for 3 people a week. And if it comes to you and you're like, hey, it's filled, you can bring it anytime you want. But the whole point was by spreading it out, we didn't get 12 treats next week, and the following week we got nothing. And for all of you coming here from work, you might be grabbing something or packing an extra sandwich, but it's kind of fun to have something to nibble on. And now I get to give you my lecture about the 3 levels of treat sharing. It's a favorite of mine. So I had this person call me up one time and said, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to bring. And I said, well, let me explain. So I said, let me put it into 3 levels. Level 1, you buy a bag of anything, any bag. You get here, you open it up, you put it on the table, and it's eaten. Everybody loves it. Level 2, you buy the bag, and you buy a jar of something to go with the bag. So it could be salsa or cheese dip or something. You put it on the table, it gets inhaled and eaten. Third, level 3, now this is where you kind of want to step it out. You make something, anything, and you put it on the table and it gets eaten. Everybody loves everything, so there's no judgment, but people get excited when there's new stuff. I know sometimes for the evening class, some people try to bring something healthy because they figure it's part of someone's end of the day meal. So people sometimes will bring veggies or some sort of like hummus and chips or something a little bit healthier, but whatever works for you. And if you get here and you forgot your treat day, it's okay. Just bring it another day. So no stress. It's hard enough to get here, so don't put any stress on it, but it's just fun and lighthearted. So we're going to pass this around, and, so I hope that answers any questions. Okay, so we have some people who've already come forward and said, hey, can I volunteer? We have our volunteer hospitality group that already is going to help us set up and clean up every night. So thank you to all of you who already said yes. I appreciate it. Hey, burner, they have to take the trash out. We don't have to do that. I'm so excited. So we're a step up here.
Set up all the tables and chairs and then take them all down at the end.
They actually have to open up all the tables, all the chairs, get them off racks. At the end, they have to fold up all the tables, put them on racks, roll them away, and stack all the chairs and take out the garbage. We don't have to do that. So we're lucky.
You're spoiled.
We're spoiled. So, inclement weather, it's usually not too bad, at the end of November, early December, but we just like people to know. Use your own judgment. If it's not good weather and you don't feel safe driving, don't come. It's okay. We want you to be safe. If UWM's announced that, like, it's closed, like we get this early snowstorm, we're closed because hell must have frozen over because public colleges never close. Okay. If you're uncertain, you can call this number. That's Sharon's number, and we'll always just leave them. So when you listen to her, hi, this is Sharon, blah, blah, blah. She'll say, if you're calling about level 1 training, it's still on, or it has now been canceled. So you can always call that number if you're unsure. But always use your own judgment, and if it's not safe, don't come. If we don't have class, we won't try to reschedule. It's pretty much very difficult to do it. Which brings me to a question. I just realized.
And also, did they tell you there's a typo on that very night on the training schedule? It's got the dates of 4th and 5th.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so my question, so on your scheduled classes for the week of, it says December 4th. It says December 4th and 5th. This class usually is held on December 6th, on a Wednesday, which is the 6th. But my question to all of you, could you come Tuesday instead of Wednesday that week? Do people have conflict on Tuesday nights? Raise your hand if you'd have a conflict on Tuesday the 5th. Okay. 3 of you? Just a couple, 4. And this is the reason we ask. When we set up this training, we're like, great, we picked our dates, we're rolling along, and today it just dawned on us that December 6th is the Master Gardener Holiday Party. And it's a volunteer celebration. You're normally not invited because you're in training and there's a space limitation, so they don't, I'm just gonna say. But Sharon and I usually run the party, they know you can't come. It's a great party, but you can't come. But Sharon and I are there to announce the graduates, and we'll explain this later. Next year at the holiday party, you'll be announced as graduates of the program. You'll get your certificate and your badge and stuff like that. So we were just wondering if there was any chance we could switch that class to Tuesday so both of us could attend. Yes. So I know a few of you, so the 4 of you or 5, 6. How many people cannot make it on the 5th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, Sharon and I will just give it some thought and get back to you. We just wanted to see how doable it would be. So, anyway. If you could kind of put a question mark on that date, and we'll get back to you. If you could continue to hold until we make the decision.
And you know, the thing is that we made a typo on the class schedule. It was supposed to say 6th instead of 5th, but maybe it was meant to be.
So anyway, we'll just get back to you. If you could hold that date. Normally we both like to go to it. So it's kind of, I just said to her, you know, we're going to have to make a choice who goes this year. So, and this building is only open Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That's the only choice. And we pick Wednesday because she teaches Monday afternoon and we didn't want to do back-to-back classes. So we'll get back to you on that. Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay.
All right. So, how do you keep up with all of this? How do you know what's going on when and where it's supposed to be and what you're supposed to do when? We're going to tell you about that. And it is on your at-a-glance sheet. It tells you all the same stuff. So the email listserv is the best way to keep up. If you gave us your email address when you registered, you are on the listserv. If you don't want to use the email that you gave us and you want to use a different email, you'll need to send an email from that address to Betsy Vocac, and her address is given on her email address is given on the at-a-glance sheet. So this is a list that only members can be on. Only the people we put on there can be on. But all members who are on it can use it to make announcements to other people. So this is how all of our volunteer groups and projects and activities announce what they're doing and ask people to come help. We don't use it very often as a, oh, I have this plant and I don't know what it is, but we do get some of that. It's kind of fun in the summer. We have a little rule about how you do that, and that's one of the things we'll talk about when we have a little mini presentation on the listserv. You will get probably more emails than you're used to, because you'll get several every week, and once it gets really busy, you'll get quite a few. You can have them, what is it called, where you have them sent to directly to a mailbox, and then you check that mailbox when you get around to it. And we've had people ask us to take them off the listserv, and we really discourage that, because it really is about the only way that you're going to know all that's going on. The pre-registration for the in-house education programs are all through the listserv. There are certain things that you will get if you don't have the listserv. You will get hard copies of certain things, but mostly stuff comes through the listserv. So we really encourage you to stick with the listserv, watch for announcements, and if it's got a heading on there of 10 Chimneys and you live on the east side of Milwaukee, you're probably not going to go to 10 Chimneys, just delete it, But it is a really great way for us to keep up with everybody. And then this tells you how to send a message. It's also on the at-a-glance form. It tells you how to do it too. Yes? Yeah?
But how will it be coming into the inbox? Who will it be from? Will it be UW Extension?
It's from CES and SEWMG are in there.
Okay. Thank you.
That's how you know what it is. Yeah, that's a good question. And no, I should tell you about your background check thing right now too, because I just got an email today from our state program coordinator who's handling the background check process. She doesn't do the background checks, but we will be sending her the roster of all of our new students, and she will then give those emails to our HR department, who then sends out a mass email to all of you and gives you a link that you need to go to fill out your background check information. And before that happens, before that email gets sent out to you, we will tell you that it's coming, to expect it. We will tell you exactly what it will say, you know, who it's from, because we're trying to make it as, you know, that you feel as comfortable as possible with doing this online, because this is how the system's set up right now. So watch for that email, and we will send you something ourselves that'll come from Ann or I before that happens. And let's see here, where are we? Okay, so the listserv. Oops. Then the website itself. This has, you know, several pages, different pages you can look at. There's an events page. They try and keep that as up to date as possible. There's a calendar page that has a calendar format calendars of things that are going on. It doesn't list all of the volunteer activities. It doesn't list every work day that every group is doing or like that, but the major events that go on are on that list. There's a volunteers page which lists a lot of volunteer opportunities. It kind of gives you information that will be in the volunteer opportunity directory as well. It's just another place to get that information. And I mentioned the calendar of events. So check the website. And then the newsletter. You will see information in there about what's coming, especially when we're getting ready for a course. We'll let you know when the registration is going to be. And the way they send out the newsletter is to send you a link to the newsletter, and then you just click on the link and the newsletter opens up and you can read it online or you can print it out, whatever you want. And if you lose that, you can just go to the website and go to the newsletter heading and pick out the newsletter that you want to read. Okay? And all of you have email addresses, right? So we don't have to worry about that. And then the monthly meetings. We used to call them the monthly business meetings, but we thought that probably scared a lot of people. I don't want to go to a business meeting. I have enough of those in my life. So we call them the monthly meeting, and it is kind of the business of the organization, but you find out a lot of other information there and other things that go on, and you can give your input as well. So if there's things being talked about how they're going to do something, you know, you can give your input. So it's a nice opportunity. It's a great way to meet other people as well. It will be announced. It's always on the second Wednesdays. There are some evening opportunities as well as daytime opportunities. And the location and the time will vary. So watch for the emails on those. At the beginning of the year, they should send out an announcement of the dates and locations for the monthly meetings. The locations are either here at the Waukesha County office or at the Milwaukee County office, wherever that may be, or at Burna Botanical Gardens. So those are the three main locations we go to. And you can check the calendar and the listserv, and they do post the minutes of the meetings on the website. So if you can't attend meetings, you can always look at those minutes and see what was being discussed or any decisions that were made and kind of find out what they talked about. We don't have to worry about this. Yay. We might even be able to take this out now. Without a computer, how do you keep up? So, we're really happy you're here. We want you to know that. We really are happy. It's so nice, the first night especially, to see all these enthusiastic new faces here. We've been doing this for many, many years, and it never gets old to us to have a whole new crop of Master Gardener volunteers coming in, and so we're really happy you're here. We hope you enjoy the program. We're looking forward to getting to know you. Do me a favor and introduce yourself every time you see me. I just won't necessarily remember your name from time to time, but that's what name tags are for, right? So always wear your name tags. And then our next week, we're doing general garden practices as it says on the class schedule. So in the program manual, chapter 9, the weekly binder, section 8, there's a couple publications. And I am trying to get our president to come. I'm not sure if he's going to be available or not. But we'll try and have the president of the SEWMGs come and welcome you. Okay? So, lights please. So I just encourage you to kind of tinker at that state website if you have a few minutes, because you don't have to do it, so you can just go and just kind of explore, so that then if you have questions, you can come back and ask them before you need to actually do it. So if you have a few minutes, check out that site and see if you have any problems with it. I also I forgot to mention earlier on the calendar, I don't know if you noticed, we're not meeting the week of Thanksgiving. So that week we skip because of the Thanksgiving week. So we have that break. So I just wanted to call attention to that. So does anybody have any questions for Sharon or I before you leave tonight? First of all, I just want to say, you'll never get out of here this early. We used to go quite a bit later, but we realized we lost you at about this point, especially at night. People are like, yeah, I'm done. You know, so we try not to get in too much. So, you know, I thought it was just enough stuff to send you off, kind of help you kind of get a feel for it, and then most other classes will be pretty packed. So don't forget you have to leave through the way you get. So remember, we're on the ground floor. You got to go up one and then head toward the courthouse. So any questions? No, thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. See you next week.